We'd like to welcome you to the live broadcast of the Grid Series. We'll see the Mini Miglia Challenge in Brands Hatch. I am Bob Glotzbach, alongside me are Niels Weber and Nathan Bell. Niels and Nate, the both of you have competed in this race. Would you call it one of the best exhibition races in the UK?
Absolutely. It has existed since 1967 and upholds a long tradition. Motorsports fans just love those old cars.
I can't quite agree with Nils. I mean, it ain't just one of the best in England, but one of the best worldwide. I mean, who the heck needs the Daytona 500 if he got this race?
Niels, you also are the co-owner of North Point Racing, who won the race last year with Estonian Jonisari. Do you think you can win this race for the second season in a row?
Absolutely, Bob. He's got what it takes, and after he's got the pole for the race, his chances are even better.
Also, his teammate, 18-year-old Jamie Randall from Belfast, made his debut and qualified fourth. What do you expect from him?
Well, since it's his debut at this event, he may be under lots of pressure, so I'd say I'll be perfectly happy if he finishes within the top 8.
I also have supported Jamie a lot back when he was 13. He says without him he would have never made it up there.
Nate, you're the only driver to have won this race for 2 successive seasons. Who's your favorite?
If I have to choose, then Ollie Gustafsson. He wasn't able to win this race yet, but he's been runner-up twice already and he's got what it takes to win.
If I had to pick one outside of my team, then Dieter Beck, since he's German like me.
Anyways, we have a guest today, and he is a blogger and podcaster from Whangarei, New Zealand. Applause for Richard Timothy Stanford. Richard, I am glad you have joined us today.
Bob, I am likewise glad that you have invited me.
In your latest podcast you have addressed this very race, the Grid Mini Miglia Brands Hatch Challenge. Mind if I play an excerpt from it?
Go ahead. Kia era fellas. It's Friday and we have a lot of great motorsport events coming up, so many, that I sadly cannot address them all. But one I definitely will address is the Grid Mini Miglia Challenge in Brands Hatch. I mean, that race got such a long tradition it ain't even a hard case. I suppose everybody's favorite is last year's winner Jonisari from Estonia, alongside last year's runner-up Ollie Gustafsson from Sweden. But there's another mate we gotta talk about, and he's a real Kiwi. Southland's Craig Jorgensen. He has started at this race 15 times, but never won it. Maybe it's finally our turn.
So I suppose you're pulling for Craig Jorgensen, aren't you?
He's only starting from row 7 though.
Well, it depends. He's a Kiwi like me, but I'm from North Island and he's sadly from South Island.
You can't pick where you're from. But it ain't really a surprise. The only Formula 1 champion from New Zealand, Denny Hulme, was born and raised in Nelson, and the only World Rally Championship round winner from NZ, Hayden Paddon, was born in Geraldine in Canterbury.
But hey, I'm excited anyways.
I definitely will press for Craig too, after he had been missing in the grid last year.
We're glad you are. Now let's switch to our pit reporter Lancel Burkaren, who's interviewing the pole sitter and last year's winner Jonisari. Can you hear me, Lance?
I most certainly can, Bob. Jonah, you won this race last year, and now you're poised putting together a debut after you dominated practice yesterday. Are you excited?
I most certainly am. It's one heck of an event you just can't miss.
Who would you say is your main contender this year?
Definitely Ollie again.
What about Sergio Alvarez? That fast Spaniard is starting next to you in first row.
Yes, and also, but I would still say Ollie Gustafsson is a hard rival, since Sergio has never finished better than 7th at this event.
Now that we mentioned Ollie, let's switch to my colleague Simon Bailey. He's having a talk with him.
I indeed am, Lance. So Ollie, yesterday it looked good that you would start in the front row or even score the pole position, but in the very last second you were taken out by Alvarez. Are you satisfied overall?
Absolutely. It's far good enough to fight for the lead from the beginning on.
You've lost this race last year while leading with a few corners to go and Zai got the better of you.
I know, but this year will be my payback to Jonah. He won't be able to do it again. He's a great and tough racer, but so am I.
How are the tires?
Just as good as usual.
Alright Bob. Back to you.
Nils, during the interview break you had a brief conversation with Jamie. Is there something wrong with him?
Nope, we only discussed about the setup. That's all. Now let's take a look at the track, which is not the standard circuit of Brands Hatch, but the IndyCar version. The start-finish line of the Brands Hatch Indy circuit is the Brabham Straight, named after 3-time Formula One world champion Jack Brabham. It is not very long for a start-finish line. In general, this track is not known for its long straights. The first turn, the Paddock Hill Bend, is rather moderate. The next one however, which follows after a short straight, Hailwood Hill, named after Mike Hailwood, is called Druids and the most wicked turn on the track, if I may call it that way. It's very easy to make mistakes there. Luckily, the track's first left turn, the Graham Hill Bend, is much softer, followed by the Cooper Straight. Then, what we have on our way back to the start-finish line, is a long set of turns. Starting with our last left turn, the Sotties, then we have the McLaren and Clearways. The last turn, the Clark Curve, of course named after Jim Clark, is nothing special in comparison to what we have seen before, but it does its job, and that was it for the track. We're back at the start-finish line. A short, but nevertheless exciting circuit.
Thank you for this presentation, Nils. Nate, which track version would you say is more difficult? The Grand Prix version or the Indy version?
Ugh, that's a tough one. Most certainly, the Grand Prix circuit is a lot longer, but the Indy circuit has the harsher turns. In general, I prefer the latter version.
Richard, have you ever had the chance to experience this track?
I have, but not in racing speed. Once a friend of mine, who drives the safety car, took me for a ride. But that was many years ago.
I'd say, every professing racing fan who has never come to this track has missed a lot.
Alright then. Time to switch to our live broadcasters. In the booth are Ken Clark, Nicole Hamilton and Phil Johnson.
Thanks Bob. It's indeed time for racing now. Nico, Phil, does anyone of you have any particular favorite?
I'm pulling for Jonas Solari.
I have strong faith in Craig finally winning this race.
You do. But he's starting from 14th.
You can laugh, but I've got an inner voice telling me that.
Well Phil, we'll know it soon enough. Now the lights are out.
Let's go.
Decent start from the defending champion. He defended the lead. Uh-oh. A mistake from Sorry. That's Alvarez's chance.
And he's through.
But not for long. He is back on it.
And Gustafson takes over second. So here's the order. Sorry, Gustafson, Alvarez, Beck, Randall.
And Craig Jorgensen has made up the most positions. He's in 6th.
Looks like you weren't that wrong about him, Phil.
Somebody's leading with a gap of 1 second.
And Jorgensen tries to overtake Randall, and he passed him. Beck and Alvarez too. Wow. What a move.
I told you about his abilities.
Sorry and his teammate Dieter Becker are now chasing the 2 leaders.
1.2 seconds the lead of Solari over Gustafson.
And Jorgensen's hard on the brakes, and he's through Gustafson. Looks like he never ceases to amaze us.
That will be a race you won't forget.
Sorry's lead has grown to nearly 2 seconds. Nico, do you think anyone can still jeopardize this with less than 2 laps to go?
I don't think so. He's just too sovereign.
I have to disagree with Nico. Craig's starting to close up to the lead too.
And indeed Jorgensen is now on Sorry's tail. That will be one thrilling last lap, and during all this excitement on the lead, Gustafson now also lost 3rd to Randall. Oh. The 2 leaders touch. Sorry goes through the grass. The orange car of Jorgensen is leading now.
But now Sorry is retaking his position in the clearways.
Come on mate, you can get the lead back. You're on fire.
One thrilling last lap is about to start. Sorry's teammate James Randall Jr. has also closed up to the 2 leaders.
That guy just can't wait to have his shot. He's extremely hungry.
Jorgensen tries to make his move and dribbles. He bumps Sorry. Sorry goes off the circuit. Now Jamie Randall will take the lead.
Ollie gets that saves him second.
Jorgensen's got second back. And now he hits Randall too. But Randall throws the block, and Gustafson's in the lead now. It's looking good for Gustafson. He can finally win this thing.
But Craig ain't giving up.
Into the final set of turns they go. Jorgensen's chance is now or never. They touch.
But Craig's through.
Oh my. Craig took back the lead in the final turn, now the last yards. After 20 years of trying and frustration, Craig Jorgensen wins the Grid Mini Miglia in Brands Hatch.
And Ollie really tried to slipstream on the start-finish line, but too late.
Here are the results. Jorgensen wins ahead of Gustafson, Beck, Sorry and Randall. Jorgensen Incorporated also wins the team championship, after Dieter Beck also finished on the podium. Nico, Phil, anything you want to say?
I tell you, I won't forget this race.
You took the words out of my mouth, Nico.
With a well-deserved winner from my home country. My younger brother and pit reporter Lester Johnson is now about to interview him.
Thank you, bro. Craig, since my parents are from New Zealand and I have spent several years of my childhood there too, I am absolutely thrilled about this success. I mean, it is a true upset. You weren't really a favorite, but against all odds you finally pulled a victory at this glamorous event together. How does it feel?
Honestly, I have no words for this. It's just too amazing.
Ollie fought until the last turn, and it were only 2 turns to go when you took the lead from him. It seemed to be one of the hardest fights I've ever seen.
Actually, that wasn't the case. It was a kid called James Randall who gave me the most pain. Ollie was easy to get, but I had to get him quick. I was running out of time.
Anyways, you deserved it more than anyone else.
I just have to thank my wife, my daughters and my son. I'd be nothing without him.
And now I won't stop you on your way to the ceremony.
Glad you don't.
Time for the winner's anthem, the New Zealand national anthem. Now it's time to report back to the studio. Bob and Nate, have you enjoyed the race just as much as us?
Yes, Ken, I absolutely did. And so have our analysts, as I can see.
I'm absolutely blessed that one of us won this race.
Even though he was from the wrong island?
Sadly, my drivers didn't end up on the podium, but instead, Craig did. As one of the few owner drivers in history, I took lots of inspiration from him when I was a teenager. Maybe mine and his teams should unite and form an even more powerful team.
That sounds like a nice idea, Nils, but we'll see if Craig sees it that way too.
Sorry, those moments of pride just keep coming up. Not a good thing. Craig's one of the few who cares about the fun more than about the money. But he won anyways after 16 attempts.
And that was it for the broadcast. The next grid round will be the Ferrari F340 Challenge, also in Brands Hatch.
And those cars
are what you're gonna see next time. Bye.